Michael Sheridan here. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake. As usual, thanks to everyone who sent dreams to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. They're the lifeblood of the show, so please continue to send them in. If you want to come on the air, you can phone the station now on 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527. You can find all these details and more on my website at dream-analysis.com/kknw, and that includes access to archives of previous shows. I had promised a few dreams last week that I didn't get to, so I'm jumping straight into analysis this week. And the first dream is one of the ones I promised, and it's called Feeding the Birds. She also says /sleep paralysis. I'll skip her comments at the start. Anyway, she says, when I finally fell asleep, she had this dream. I was at the shore with my husband. It was the river, not the ocean, but the land was more like the beach. We were watching seabirds and sometimes sitting, other times strolling along. There was river on both sides of the pathway we were on. I had some birdseed with me and I was tossing it for sparrows. And not in the dream, but in brackets she said sparrows are in her backyard, not at the seashore. And the seed looked more like mint seed that she sowed in the garden than birdseed. Okay, so the next bit is we spotted a school of redfish swimming along the shoreline towards us. They were not big, but we were excited to see them. My husband took off down the beach behind us to follow them. I continued on. I saw some redfish minnows sunning themselves close to shore, and they swam away. A man came up behind me and waded into the water and picked up something. He made a comment about his dog getting the object, but I didn't see a dog. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for the moment. I've done a dream for this dream before, and in that dream she had a dog that was dragging her out the front door of the office where she works. So here we have the dog again, and we know the dog is about the same thing. So this is saying that the dog picked up something. In other words, you need to pick it up. You need to do. He got the object of the last dream, and you need to pursue that yourself. So we know the dream is about your spiritual side because we've got rivers and oceans mentioned. But I know the rivers in the dream, but you say that the land was more like a beach. So it's about your approach to the things that you do in the spiritual world. And I know you're a professional hypnotist. But you're also a channel because we have two rivers here. And that's really useful, of course, when working with any clients, if you can get information that way to help to know how best to work with somebody. It's always terrific. The seabirds represent spiritual goals. Well, anything that you have to look up to see in a dream represents a goal or something that you've been asked to look up to or respect. So you've been asked to look up to or respect some spiritual goals if you don't have any, set some. Then the birdseed, tossing it to the birds, is asking you to nurture your spiritual goals or nourish your spiritual goals because you're using it to nourish the seagulls. Now, interestingly, mint seed is for headaches and indigestion, but I don't think that's what it is about in your dream. In fact, I know it's not. It is about the spiritual goals. There's a little bit of the relationship in here because your husband's in the dream, but he plays a supporting role. So he's going along with you at the beach. So he's supporting you in your spiritual endeavours, and you're flanked either side by a river. This is what the two rivers, and the fact that you're flanked either side or you're in the channel between the two rivers really is what tells us you're a channel. But your husband supports you in this, but really it's your own path because you continue on alone, even though he's excited to see this school of redfish, which is about your passion and joy at getting into this thing. And even in the dream you say you were excited. You say the fish weren't big. That's okay. It is a little bit of a negative in the dream, but it's sort of like along the lines of if you get into this, and I know you already are, but things are not as big as you want them to be straight away. But that's the way things are. You have to grow them. But you continue on anyway, and that's really good. And then this guy wades into the water. So getting into the water is actually really positive in the dream. So he's positive in the dream. He's telling you that you need to get your feet wet, or you need to get into this spiritual field, because that's what the water represents, and pick it up like he does. Then you say you dropped your package of birdseed in the water as you were in the water up to your ankles now, and you were disappointed the seed was ruined. Of course it wasn't, because it's not salt water, so the seed isn't ruined. It can still be used. And in fact, you need water to cultivate and let seeds germinate. So it's a positive in the dream, even though you felt like it's a negative. So that's something to relax on. Then you say, I made my way back down the beach and the man was talking to another man on a structure that's something like the boardwalks that go over the sand dunes to get to the beach. So we know something to do with elimination system issues there, but that's okay. It's not the focus of the dream. We also have two men here. So we have the two rivers and the two men. We see twos coming up in channel streams all the time. So just interesting to point it out. I went past them. I had to climb over to get to the other side. Of course, that's what channeling is about, is getting to the other side. The structure got more complicated. So it's saying that here, that you're overly complicating how you channel. And that's, we're all guilty of that one when we start off. It's one of those things that, I don't know why, but people tend to focus on how do you do it? What are the exact mechanisms to make it work? When really that isn't what you do. When you want to talk in the physical world, you don't figure out what muscles you need to use to move your tongue around a certain way and how to breathe and so on and so on and so on. It just is a natural thing. Yes, you have to practice it, but it becomes natural, and you don't focus on anything other than the communication. Rather than, what I mean is, you don't focus on how you make the communication. You just focus on the fact that you are communicating, and that's the way it'll go for you. It had a garden swing set on it, and I had to get over and climb down the other side. So, okay, the garden swing set, that's going to tell us that you were channeling when you were a kid, because that would be a typical symbol for a kid. And also, it's a fun thing. Kids love swings. So this is something that's saying, just like the red fish in the dream, this is something that if you get passionate about and see it as fun, it'll be easier for you to do. But as I was negotiating, an engine started and I realized that this was part of the two men's vehicle. I started to raise my voice to say I was on the vehicle. I couldn't yell, only whisper. And that's, of course, this is about the difficulty with the communication and getting across to the other side. We know that that's what your issue is, but that'll disappear in time. I couldn't yell, only whisper. I called out to my husband, but he couldn't hear me. I could barely whisper. The vehicle started to drive away with me on it, and I was saying, hey guys, I'm here on your vehicle. I couldn't move from my position to go to the front and tell them. I realized I was in a dream and in sleep paralysis. I was rolling my eyes in the dream and saying, for God's sake, I'm in sleep paralysis. And then I woke up. Okay, so that's funny. So that's interesting. In the dream, you wake up. Always good to see that in a dream. To realize you're in a dream. So this is saying that the realization for how to make this communication or not be paralyzed by the complexities that you see or perceive that go along with making this communication happen will disappear, and that's good. Okay, so moving on, we have a man's dream, and it's called MacGyver. That even the title gives you a chuckle. If anybody remembers MacGyver, he was able to make anything out of anything. So MacGyver is in the desert. I'm an observer in this dream. Okay, so when you're an observer in a dream, it tends to mean that you're a little bit too emotionally attached to whatever's going on in life. And the dream then uses a technique where it sort of steps you back and says, look, pretend it's not you. Let's see somebody else and see how they would deal with the same issues that we're throwing at you. And I say we on purpose to imply that these things are orchestrated in your life because they are. And the biggest orchestrator of the whole lot is yourself, your higher self. Okay, so on with the dream. He is being chased by bad guys. The bad guys are chasing him in a jeep. MacGyver's on foot, so he doesn't have a chance. He's on foot. They're just about caught him when the jeep breaks down. He takes off on foot. The bad guys call in reinforcements. I love the bad guys thing. It's a real kids type of a term. And of course, it deliberately makes light of a situation because it wants you to make light of a situation and see it as sort of a role play. Because we always know that MacGyver's always going to get away. There's never going to be anything that really pins MacGyver down. It takes a while for the reinforcements to show up. Everyone knows it'll take a while for them to show up. Okay, repeated. The reinforcements arrive. At least one of them is on horseback. So horseback here, when it's just one, has to do with balance. So it's about you getting balance or restoring balance to what's going on in your life. He finds, and anybody who's ever been on a horse will know that, he finds MacGyver pretty quickly. MacGyver is narrating. He says, that one sound that you don't want to hear is that clop, clop, clop. MacGyver stands up and surrenders. He pulls out a gun with 2 fingers and throws it to the ground. The guy gets off the horse and frisks him to make sure he doesn't have anything else. Okay, so the horse is also about your healing ability, and the gun, throwing it to the ground, is to give up anything that causes you anger. Don't let the situation evoke anger in you. And this is where it gets interesting. A coffin-like thing that you lie down inside, maybe a spaceship, shows up. It has little lights or gemstones on the outside. So we know, because it has lights, that it's a positive thing in the dream. And gemstone says it's of value. So it's that way with many things in dreams. What we may look at when we try analyze the dream from outside the dreamscape and think, okay, this is negative, turns out to be positive. Now, it's important to say, in a dream, we know what's positive and negative. We know, in fact, everything that's going on in the dream, what they mean. But when we step out of the dream, we don't. Of course, that really begs the question, which I'm not going to answer on this show today. What is who am I in the situation? So how do I understand it in the dreamscape and not outside it? Anyway, there's no lid. It's like a big bassinet. MacGyver gets out of it. Then the bad guy lies down inside it. Inside there are arms that hold him in. MacGyver takes off again. There are bad guys up on a ridge yelling because he's getting away. That's the end of the show. He says that he was saved by an angel, which is also the name of the episode. Then I see the credits. So we know he gets out. We don't know how he gets away. So this is important. You don't need to know how you're going to work through this. All you need to do is realize that you'll be saved by an angel, just like in the dream. A lot of people call them angels. I call them guides. They're the same thing. But the coffin shows significant change coming your way. Big transition. And it's sort of along the lines of what won't kill you will make you stronger. But the lights on the coffin, like I said, tells us it's a very good symbol, and it's something of value because of the gemstones. It's something of value on your journey. So this period you're going through that you think is probably like hell is a necessary thing, because you have to go through this period of wrestling with this significant change. But know that your guides have your back. And let's see, what else have I got? Yeah, realize MacGyver always comes through at the end. So let this stuff happen. Let it pass through you, and you'll be stronger because of it. Okay, another dream that I had promised to do. This lady says, let's see. I can't read the comments because it gives things away, but she says, a female colleague was walking through the library in a detached way with a man walking behind her, spraying people with what I can only imagine was a dangerous substance, like pepper spray, although no one was really panicking. I had a little girl I was carrying with me that I was trying to save from her. If I had to guess, I would say the little girl was around 6 years old. We found a spot on the floor. I covered her in a protective way with my body and stayed there. We watched while my colleague walked through the library and eventually left, and I knew we were safe. Okay, so I asked this dreamer then, when I told her I was going to do this dream on the show, what went on around the age 6, because she's carrying this 6-year-old. And she says, at age 6 is when I started elementary school. Skipping a bit here. It was a very difficult time. Even at that young age, I was bullied and made fun of. I have vivid memories of feeling very heartbroken walking around the school grounds, crying because I was so different from everyone and no one liked me. Besides that, nothing definitive. And I love that. Besides that, nothing definitive. You just described a train wreck of a childhood. We know the age. And you say, and that's all I can really remember. And that's what we do. We're all guilty of that. We play down the major issues in our life. And of course, your dreams don't. So your dreams are saying you're carrying a 6-year-old around you. But here, this dream is actually a healing dream, even though it sounds horrible. It's actually a healing dream. So what happens is, symbolically, it reenacts you at the age 6. That's why the 6-year-old is there. But it puts you in the dream. And in the dream, you protect yourself at the age 6. So you give yourself the protection you didn't get when you were being bullied at that age. Now, how do we know what the dream is focusing on? We say this man is walking behind the woman spraying people. So men in dreams have to do with a number of things, but one of them is logic. Men are often accused of being too logical, so they can stand for logic in a dream. So here in that context, because he's spraying people with something that is really negative, it's mental abuse. So at age 6, you were attacked with mental abuse. Now that's huge. So the dream isn't playing it down, so you're not going to be allowed to play it down. Your biggest issues are with your mom, because this happens in the wake of your mom, or the wake of a woman in the dream. And you say nobody was really panicking, so nobody's doing anything about what this guy's doing in the dream, or about this mental abuse in the dream. So really that's saying that nobody did anything about it when you were 6 in the dream. But the intention of this dream is to heal. And what brought it up, of course, is you said that you've taken up guided meditations and also hypnosis sessions through 2 online services. And that's what, since doing that, you've been struggling emotionally and wondering what demons that you're fighting with, because you can't even see them. So now you know what it is. And age 6 is a good age. You should have a good memory. So something, even the hypnosis, they should have things to help you deal with this. I always plug cutting the ties. I'm a big fan of that, because it's something you can do on your own, but it is almost like hypnosis. So deal with the issues around 6, and let's see if those dreams stop. You also say before this you had many dreams with TVs, singers, and you talking to dead people. So yes, you are a channel, and dealing with the issues from childhood are necessary in order for you to get a better connection. It's all about the energy, transmuting the energy space you're in so that you are connecting to a really positive source. When you do this a number of times, it just becomes second nature. You're incapable of connecting to anything that would drag you down or feel negative. But in the beginning, you're encouraged to do anything that improves your philosophy of life. And to do that, quite often we have to deal with things that give us or gave us a heavy philosophy of life. So that's what it is in your case. And you say, okay, of course, your colleague just lost a sister recently. So the feelings of unfairness in life would be bringing up also what was unfair to you in childhood. Now, of course, I say this all the time. These things happen in our lives for a reason. Generally, you can be quite sure anything that happens up till about the age of 12 is planned and has gone the way it's meant to go. So you don't look back at it and say, oh, I'm delighted it happened or anything like that. But you do say, okay, what can I get out of this? How can I grow from dealing with these issues? And it's that growth is what's important. Okay, very short one here. Anthony says, the president of my country laid his hands on my head and was praying. What does that mean? Well, it's a very simple one. The president is the leader of a country, so it indicates that you have spiritual leadership qualities. And spiritual leadership is connected with the crown chakra, which is where he put his hand on your head. So that's really good too. Or it backs it up, I should say. Spiritual leadership, you'll always hear me saying it, is done with female energy. It's where you have an open and compassionate heart, and you listen to and help other people in a completely non-judgmental way. So, in other words, completely alien possibly to any other type of leadership you've ever come across in your life. So I'm scanning ahead to see what ones that I must cover. Okay. So here's another lady's dream. She says, a storm is coming. Okay. So I'm going to say what this dream is covering. It's covering about how her ex-relationship, her husband that she's divorced from now, how that relationship is affecting her today. And so knowing that, then as I read the dream, it should sort of make sense to itself. So she says, okay, in the dream, I'm moving back into the big house that my ex-husband and I built together. So this is a move backwards. We are moving back into the house together, but in the dream, it is not like we were ever apart or divorced. So in other words, you still are carrying around the influence of this guy. You're on your guard, you're reserved because of him. There is typical chaos of moving going on around us. So it's the chaos is the focus there. But I'm surprised to see that my ex has gotten many, many pictures already hung on the walls throughout the house. So the walls here are going to be the wall that you erected to protect yourself or to keep people at a distance because of issues in this relationship. And this, you're in another relationship. In fact, you're engaged. And your partner, your current fiance, doesn't come up in this dream at all. So we know none of this is to do with him. This is all to do with your ex. And that's very encouraging for your current relationship. So it's saying deal with the issues with your ex and you'll be able to drop this wall and you won't have to be on your guard. Anyway, let's continue on. He got his power drill in his hand and he's going through the house doing this. That's hanging the pictures. So in other words, the house that you're trying to make together now is still decorated by the effects, the ongoing effects of your relationship with your partner. And you say he's got his power drill in his hand. If you take away the drill, you're saying he's got the power. So your ex still has the power, and he influences how you move forward in life, and it's obviously going to be affecting your relationship more than as well as many other things, but that would be the big one. From some friends of ours are helping with the move, and while my ex is in the other room, one male friend gives me a hug and kisses me, but it's not an intimate kiss, no tongue. Thanks for the clarity. Yet he holds his lips to mine for a very long time, all the while embracing me. I feel uncomfortable, and I'm trying to figure out what he's up to. Eventually I pull away, and he looks very sad, and I think it's because we're moving. Okay, so this is about you feeling uncomfortable, you feeling sad, you feeling like there's a problem with intimacy. And again, all because of your ex. I let that thought go and keep working on getting things moved in and put away. I'm in a room that looks like a den, and a couch is facing towards a big picture window. So that's good, a big picture window. But watch how that big picture window disappears and closes off later in the dream. Anyway, so this is saying this is something you got to watch. Your psychic connection will be affected by your partner, your ex-partner. It's warm in the room, so I take off my sweater. Just then another male friend comes in to help, and he also kisses me. It's good to take off the sweater, by the way, because that's a protective thing. We wear them to protect us from the elements. And in our own dreams, we shouldn't be protecting ourselves from anything. Like the first guy, his kiss is not intimate, but he also keeps long contact. But as he's kissing me, we both feel some electricity, and this surprises both of us. We pull away from each other at the same time and look startled, although nothing really happened. Just then my ex walks in, and I panic, thinking he will see my sweater on the floor and suspect something happened, even though nothing really did. I think that's hilarious. I feel guilty that a chase kiss with another man has excited me. Unsure of what to do, I decide to get back to work with the house. Okay, so again, this has happened twice in the dream, so we know this is the theme. Sometimes dreams show us a theme to show us our reaction. So it's this being reserved when it comes to men, holding back, not being intimate. And of course, you're not meant to kiss and tongue every man that you meet, but it's your dream. You're welcome to do it to every man in your own dreams, and you don't do it. And it's all because of your ex, and he's not even in your life anymore. So this is really to point out to you how you hold yourself back because of your ex, who was long gone out of your life. I feel, okay. Then I'm upstairs in our bedroom. My ex is there too. It's nighttime, and we were getting ready to go to bed. I noticed that the bedroom window has a black frame around the white grids inside. So this says that you have a black and white view when it comes to something to do with your femininity, because it's in a bedroom here. The walls of the bedroom are off-white. The combination looks weird to me, and I realise that I never noticed it before. I lower the dark wood blinds, that's terrible, which are in the closed position, and I sit on the bed staring at the now covered window. Didn't I tell you? The big picture window that was open would become a closed window. So this is saying this is where you're going if you don't deal with the issues around your ex. I hear thunder in the distance, and I feel melancholy. I know a storm is coming. I am excited that we are back in the house that we built together. It feels right, but for some reason I still feel sad. The thunder gets louder as I just sit and stare at the window. Then I wake up. Okay, so a storm is coming. You've got to deal with the issues with your ex. You know how to do that. You've already cut the ties with your stepdad. So that's what that dream is about. Now what have you got? I dream about blood, just the sight of it. Can you please share some interpretation about it? Of course. This is common when doing a therapy, to see a lot of blood, to see people with severed limbs, people in bandages with lots of blood visible. White bandages and red blood on them is a common sight. But if you're afraid of blood, if you're afraid of the sight of blood, if that makes you faint, for instance, then that could be another reason why you dream of blood, and it's nothing to do with its normal meanings. Its normal meaning is about what's in your blood, what's at your spiritual core. So it's usually a dream about things that are spiritual, and trying to get you to open up to those and accept that that's who and what you are. But if it turns you off, if blood turns you off, then it's saying that even though that's what it is, this is something that you don't really like to look at. Okay, another short one. My girlfriend told me she had a dream. She was picking a fruit when all of a sudden someone came and was trying to compete with her in the fruit she was picking, and the person wanted the same fruit she wanted, So she got angry, climbed down the fruit tree, and started being chased by a flesh-eating snake. And I had another dream, which I don't think I'm going to get to, that has a snake in it. So this is about, it's telling you, because she gets angry in the dream, fruit is to do with the reproductive system. Fruit is the ripened ovum of a plant. So, it couldn't be more the reproductive system than it is. So that's what it means in a dream. We also have the expression fruit of our loins and so on. But this dream says anger issues have the potential to seriously affect the health of your reproductive system. Yes, if somebody is badgering in your life right now, that may be the case. But once you realize how letting yourself get angry over that can cause you serious health issues, that should be enough for you to say, okay, I'm not going to let it go that far. And then watch out if you have a competitive streak, because we see that in the dream coming up, the competitive streak. Okay, let's look at another one. I'm walking by a dirt lot. I notice 2 crowbars sticking out of the dirt. I look closely and see that they're an expensive brand. I look around to see if anyone is looking. No one is around. I steal the crowbars and replace them with sticks so no one will notice. And this one was sent in by the dreamer's husband, and she says that he was very happy when he woke up that he'd acquired these tools. Now, I can just imagine his guides doing a face palm when they realize he was happy to have stolen these 2 crowbars, because they are not good in the dream. So what you want to do is get rid of them. They are saying that being too male is causing you issues with your elimination system. And the whole idea of the dream was to see that they don't belong there, and not to take them and keep them, but to get rid of them, or at least let you see that they're there. I suspect they would be orange or yellow, because they would be the colours that are healing for that. Yeah, very short dream, but very, very simple. A lot of us are too male, whether we're men or women. We frequently are too male, because that's just the way we are in Western culture. So I have run out of time again. I still have quite a few dreams here, but I will pick them up next week. I've been asked to cover things about symbols, so I might do that at some time coming up. I don't have any courses coming up until September. I've put them off, but first one is online on September 6th, and but I will be at the Conscious Wellness Expo on July 25th. So until next week, see you then.